Hello and welcome to the World News on VOP TV. I am Esther Arimirim. We begin the news with China threatening today to impose the death penalty in extreme cases for diehard Taiwan independent separatists, even though Chinese courts have no jurisdiction on the democratically governed island. Taiwan has complained of a pattern of ramped-up Chinese pressure since live won the election in January, including ongoing military actions, trade sanctions, and Coast Guard patrols around Taiwan-controlled island next to China. The new guideline says China's court prosecutors, public and state security bodies should severely punish Taiwan independence dyad for splitting the country and inciting secession crimes in accordance with the law, and resultantly defend national sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity. The guidelines are being issued in accordance with law already on the book, including the 2005 anti-secession law. The law gives China the legal basis for military action against Taiwan if it succeeds or seems about it. Sun Ping, an official from China's Ministry of Public Security, told reporters in Beijing the maximum penalty for the crime of secession was the death penalty. Lai has repeatedly offered to hold talks with China but has been rebuffed. He says only Taiwan's people can decide their future. Meanwhile, today Beijing warned that escalating frictions with the European Union over electric vehicle import could trigger a trade war as Germany's economic minister arrived in the Chinese capital with the proposed tariff high on his agenda. Robert Habeck's three-day trip to China is the first by senior European officials since Brussels proposed FT duties on import of Chinese-made electric vehicles to combat excessive subsidies. This week alone, Chinese automakers urged Beijing to hike tariffs on imported European gasoline-powered cars, and the government launched a dumping probe into EU pork imports in retaliation for the EU Commission's move. Habeck's visit is seen as an opportunity for Germany, Europe's biggest economy, to explain to Chinese officials the recent tariff announcement while outlining the risk of retaliation from China that could harm Germany businesses. Germany's voice carries particular weight, and its leading car manufacturers have voicefully opposed the EU tariffs. Berlin has urged dialogue while also expecting China to compromise. The country's car makers would be the most exposed to any counter moves from China, as almost a third of their sales came from $18.6 trillion economy last year. Still in China, the Chinese defense industry is actively working on creating the next generation of light tanks designed for operations in mountainous regions, amphibious landings, and dense urban environments. The initiative aims to address the unique challenges posed by the border tension with India and Taiwan, where traditional heavy tanks are less effective. The new light tanks are being developed to meet the demands of high-altitude warfare, urban combat, and rapid deployment in amphibious operations. One prototype has already been spotted during trials, indicating progress in the ambitious project. The new tank is expected to have a crew of two and will feature modular armor and active protection systems. It will also be equipped with a remotely operated weapons stations and potentially a radar system for battlefield situational awareness. There is speculation that the components from the Chinese Type 15 light tank have been used in the development of this new vehicle. In a recent development, tens of thousands of supporters of Taiwan's ruling party are expected to gather outside parliament today after it pushed ahead with a hugely controversial contempt of parliamentary bill. The opposition culminating party says the new law is badly needed to redress the power imbalance between the legislature and Taiwan's very powerful presidency. But the ruling Democratic Progress Party says it's an unconstitutional power grab aimed at taking revenge on the DPP government led by President William Lai Ching-te. The bill will give Taiwan's parliament more power to interrogate and investigate the executive to supernal government officials and private individuals, which could force them to hand over sensitive documents to lawmakers. It also introduced a contempt of legislature clause, which can impose fines and even a prison term of up to 1 year for officials who disrespect Parliament. The last clause has been heavily criticized by legal scholars who says it goes far beyond what is normal in other democratic countries. Still in Asia, South Korea has summoned Moscow's envoy today following the signing of a mutual defense pact between Russia and North Korea. The deal was inked on Wednesday during a visit by Russian President Vladimir Putin to Pyongyang, where he received a lavish welcome from fellow autocrat Kim Jong-un, North Korea's leader. It consolidates the Kim's regime's powerful link with a world power that wields a veto on the UN Security Council and means Russia now has a defense pact with South Korea's biggest enemy. South Korea, a US treaty ally, condemned the treaty and summoned Russia's ambassador today, a rare diplomatic step that illustrates the soared tension between Seoul and Moscow. First Vice Minister Kim Hong-kyun relayed the South Korean government's stern position on Kim and Putin's defense pact, urging Moscow to immediately halt military cooperation with Pyongyang and abide by UN Security Council resolution. Meanwhile, North Korea's soldiers working in the demilitarized zone separating the two Koreas briefly crossed the border, prompting South Korean troops to fire warning shots, the South Joint Chief of Staff said today. The incident occurred around 11 a.m. on Thursday, the JCS said in a message to newsmen. The incursion was the third crossing by the North in recent weeks, with similar incidents taking place on Tuesday and June 9. JCS officials said the crossing appears unintentional as the North has been ramping up actively in frontline areas of the DMZ since withdrawing from an inter-Korea military agreement in November. North Korean soldiers have been observed clearing land, laying mines, reinforcing tactical roads, and installing structures that appear to be anti-tank barriers at several locations in DMZ. An activist group of North Korean defectors said today that it floated 20 balloons carrying 300 anti-Pyongyang leaflets, USB drives containing South Korean media and US dollars across the border. Kim Yo-young, the powerful sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, issued a statement condemning the latest balloon launch today by disgusting defectors and warning of possible retaliation. You're still watching the world news on VOP TV. More stories after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Retired Israeli General Israel Ziv has said that ending the war in Gaza is key to reaching a settlement with Hezbollah. He also spoke to the pressure on reserve forces becoming unbearable, calling the political situation dangerous and deteriorating. He pointed out that Israel does not have the ability to withstand more months in light of the bad situation, economic deterioration, and political collapse. He called for great pressure to be exerted on Hamas, saying the captives must return, the war in Gaza must end, and a settlement in the north must be made. Additionally, he stated that there was no growing confidence crisis among the public as well as difficulty in dealing with the problems of those who fled their homes 9 months ago. Meanwhile, the U.S. Military Central Command CENTCOM says its forces destroyed 6 drones operated by Iran-backed Houthi rebel in the Red Sea. The same day, it was confirmed the rebels sank their second merchant vessel in the region. In a release, CENTCOM said its forces destroyed 4 unscrewed vessels operating on Thursday on the ocean surface and 2 aerial drones over 24 hours. The report said there was no injuries or damage reported by the U.S., the coalition, or merchant vessels, but it was determined the drones presented an imminent threat. Meanwhile, maritime authorities confirmed on Thursday that a cargo ship struck June 12 by a Houthi missile sank. A crewman on the vessel was killed in the attack. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operation Agency said on Thursday 3 was maritime debris and oil sighted in the last reported location of the ship, the Greek-owned MV2 coal carrier. The vessel is believed to have sunk, the report said. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock will visit the Middle East next week as the Gaza war grins on unfair growth of a wider regional conflict. A foreign ministry spokesperson said Baerbock would travel to Israel on Monday after meeting of European Union foreign ministers in Luxembourg. On arrival in Israel, Baerbock, who has visited the region several times since the start of the Israeli war on Gaza, but will give a speech at the Exilia Security Conference. On Tuesday, she will hold talks with Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Baerbock will also meet with the Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz in Jerusalem. Afterwards, Baerbock will travel to Lebanon for talks with officials in Beirut, including the Migration Minister. Baerbock's discussion with officials would focus on the war in Gaza and the continuing catastrophic humanitarian situation, and as well as the questions of what a future could look like that allows Israeli and Palestinians to live together in safety. U.S. District Judge Arlen Cannon, who is overseeing one of the 4 criminal cases against former President Donald Trump, has scheduled a hearing on June 21 to address the lawfulness of Special Counsel Jack Smith's appointment. The parties will argue on President Trump's motion to dismiss the indictment based on the unlawful appointment of the special counsel. As the judge previously indicated, Amiso, including experts who advance this legal theory, will be allowed to participate in the hearing. On June 4, Judge Cannon issued an order allowing 3 attorneys representing the groups supporting and 1 opposing the motion to each make 30-minute arguments. The judge's announcement of the hearing some weeks ago coincides with a decision to indefinitely postpone the classified document case against the former president. She also allowed amici or third parties to participate in the forthcoming hearing. While it is not unusual to allow amicis briefed to be filed in a district court case or to hold a hearing on a defendant's motion to dismiss a case, it is uncommon to allow third parties to participate in oral arguments at these hearings, one of the amici told reporters. Today, European Union countries formally approved the launch of accession negotiations with war-torn Ukraine and Moldova next week, another step in the 2 nations-long journey to join the 27-nation bloc. Belgium, which currently holds the presidency of the European Union, said member states have agreed on a negotiating framework. Following a positive assessment from the EU executive branch, EU leaders had already agreed last year that accession negotiations should start with both countries. The process between the start of negotiations with Ukraine and its neighbor Moldova and their becoming members of the EU could take many years. To join the EU, candidate countries must go through a lengthy process to align their laws and standards with those of the bloc and show that their institutions and economies meet democratic norms. Ukraine is one of the several countries that have long wanted to join the EU, seeing it as a path of wealth and stability. While the EU is not a military alliance like NATO, membership in the bloc is seen by some as a rampant against Russian influence. Ukraine officially applied for EU accession last less than a week after Russia invaded it in February 2022. The opening of talks sends another strong signal of solidarity with Ukraine, in addition to the huge financial support provided by the EU. Moldova has repeatedly accused Russia of conducting a hybrid war against the country, meddling in the local election and running vast disinformation campaigns to try to topple the government and derail its path toward joining the EU. Coming up is business, entertainment, and sports after the break. Please stay with us.
Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending. From politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on. From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People.
Welcome back. Now in business, persistently high inflation and the ongoing impact of the war in Ukraine have compelled companies across Europe to resort to layoff and hiring freezes. Since April, significant job cuts have been announced across various sectors. In the banking sector, TSB, a British bank owned by Spain's Sabadell, announced 250 jobs cut and 36 branch closure. The industrial and engineering sector has been seeing major cuts, with Finnish mining equipment maker Metso planning to cut about 240 positions globally, and German conglomerate ThyssenKrupp laying off 450 staff in its materials trade division. In retail and consumer goods, French supermarket chain Casino is set to cut between 1,293 and 3,267 positions, while British retailers Ted Baker plans to close 15 stores and affecting nearly 250 jobs. The tech sector is not immune, with Norwegian telecoms group Telenor announcing 100 layoffs, and Vodafone Spain, recently acquired by Zegona Communication, planning up to 1,200 job cuts. Other notable cuts include German chemical company BASF considering layoffs at its Finland site, BP reducing over 100 jobs in its EV charging businesses, and Siemens Energy wind turbine division Siemens Gamesa planning to cut 4,100 jobs. These widespread job cuts reflect the broader economic challenges faced by the European companies and amid ongoing geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainty. The reductions are part of cost-cutting measures to manage the financial strain and adapt to a sluggish economic environment. The video crops shares have seen a remarkable surge, leaving investors to deliberately whether to hold onto their gains, sell, or buy more. The stock, which briefly made Nvidia the largest US company by market value, has experienced a more than 1,000% increase since October 2022 and a 206% rise in the past year. Nvidia is at the forefront of a technological shift, dominating the AI chip sector, with revenues expected to double to $1,220 billion this fiscal year and rise further to $160 billion next year. Despite its impressive performance, Nvidia shares are now more richly valued, with its forward price to earning ratio growing by 80% this year. This has led to concerns about potential vulnerability to sharp pullbacks. Some investors remain bullish, citing Nvidia's dominance in AI chip technology and its proprietary software framework as key reasons for continued growth. Ivana Deleska, founder of Spare Invest, remains optimistic about Nvidia's future, noting that the company's solid earnings support its high stock price. However, not all investors are convinced. Some, like Gil Luria of D.A. Davidson, maintain a neutral rating, citing doubts about long-term customer spending to sustain the high valuation. Concerns also include potential competition from tech giants like Microsoft, Meta Platform, and Google owner Alphabet. Analysts at Morningstar believe that while Nvidia currently dominates AI, any successful development of alternatives could significantly limit its profitability. This mixed sentiment reflects the challenges and opportunities facing Nvidia as it navigates the evolving tech landscape. McLaren's Lando Norris added Red Bull Max Verstappen in forced practice at the Spanish Grand Prix. Norris was just 0.24 seconds quicker than the world champions as both set their time on the fastest soft tyre. Ferrari Carlos Sainz was third fastest, 0.344 seconds of the pace, but using the medium tyre for their best lap, and as did Mercedes George Russell in fourth. Red Bull Sergio Perez, McLaren Oscar Piastri, and Mercedes Lewis Hamilton were next in the order. Red Bull and Ferrari both have significant upgrades on their cars for the startup of a run of races in the European Outland of Formula One. In football, Argentina star Lionel Messi became the most capped player in Copa America history on Thursday as he reached 35 appearances in the opening match of the tournament against Canada. The 36-year-old had shared the record with Chilean goalkeeper Sergio Livingston, 34 caps, since appearing in the final of the 2021 Copa America in Brazil, where Argentina triumphed. Messi's appearances have been spread across 7 editions of the Copa, starting with the 2007 tournament in Venezuela. The 8 times Ballon d'Or winner could set more records in this year's competition. He needed 4 goals to tie compatriot Roberto Mendes and Brazil's Zizio as all-time Copa America soccer with 17 goals. Should Argentina win in the tournament, Messi would also become the first captain to win back-to-back tournaments. In entertainment, rapper Travis Scott has been arrested for disorderly intoxication and trespassing. The Miami Beach Police Department said that Scott, who has 2 children with Kylie Jenner, was arrested for causing a disturbance on a charter boat at the Miami Beach Marina, where he was drunk and asked to leave multiple times. Officers were called to the marina at 12:44 a.m. on Thursday morning to report of a disturbance, according to official records. News Miami said on its website that the 10-time Grammy Award nominee was reportedly getting off a charter boat when the owner of the boat asked him to leave. One of the stars of the Eat game show, The Traitors, has said he wishes he could say sorry to the women he hurt over the years. Andrew Jenkins was one of the contestants on the second series of the show, hosted by Claudia Winkleman. In 1999, at 21-year-old, Mr. Jenkins from Talbot Green in Wales was involved in a serious car accident which left him in a coma for 4 weeks. The 45-year-old said he always thought people were going to cheat, which led him to self-sabotaging everything. And that's a wrap on the world news on VOP TV. I am Esther Arimirim. Many thanks for watching.